this section of river is called Randolph Sleep, and it's named that because way back when a guy was running away from his enemies and managed to jump over the river, escape, and managed to live. I've always looked at the river and just been like, no way, no one could jump over that. It's just too much. But then, well, maybe he was on a horse, the adrenaline was flowing, none of his pursuers wanted to, so it was obviously a bit scary. But there was one time I came here when I was a teenager, the river was this sort of height, and it's the one and only time I've let myself over the river. This is just so beautiful. It funnels the water through a really tight gorge, and it's just this beautiful sound. I just adore it and just feel so refreshed when I come here. But I was saying that the river's low, this is just incredible. I can't believe how low it is today. There's been times when you can see it behind me there. If you see the top of where all that moss is, sort of about up here, this rock, sometimes you can only just see the top of it. And you can see how low it is there. I think I've only maybe seen it this low once before. This rock that you can see ahead of me right here, this one here, that is usually just a rock sticking out of the water. You can't get to it. It's just a rock. So if you can look down here, usually water is flowing here, and that little promontory is just underwater. You can't see it, as is that bit across the other side there. You can see this bit usually, but those bits not usually at all. Sometimes if it's really wet up on the hills, the river just rises crazily. Very occasionally we can get flash flooding. The stone behind me here, it shows the flood level that the river got to one time. I couldn't quite read the date. I think it was 1829. So it's a long time ago. It really doesn't often get this high, but it can, and it can be really unexpected. When I was little, a good friend of my mum's was actually up here one time with another friend, and there was a flash flood and she was swept away. I always refer to this place as the island. It often actually isn't an island because you can get down to it, but you can see maybe just down there there's quite a dip, and when the river gets high it'll just lap over there. So easy to navigate today. When it's wet it can be really quite slippery. You can see some of the trees there, tiny at the moment, not even as high as my leg, but there have been times they've got to about twice my height. They grow up and then a big flood comes along and they all get washed away. So here's a Scots pine. I don't know how old it is, but it's been here for as long as I can remember, and it's not grown that high, but it looks old. It's covered in lichen, and it's just so resilient to all the weathers. So exposed out here. I just love it here. It's this meeting place of waters, almost a no man's land. And so you can see there's the river behind me. From that side, that's the Findhorn River coming in, following on down. Then on this side, it's one of the tributaries of the Findhorn River, the Divvy, coming in and joining it. And I mentioned the Scots pine tree at the end. Here it is. I always try and say hi when I come here. It takes all the weathers, it takes all the wind, and it stays standing. And with all the flooding, all the waters that come up and wash away the other trees, it just takes all the cares and worries away. It's such a special place. I'm glad I could share it with you.